Welcome to the realm of astrology. This is your daily horoscope for May 27th, 2021, which is a Thursday. We had a major lunar eclipse yesterday, and we have another eclipse coming into June 10th or 11th, depending on where you're at. We will talk about these things, but Venus and Neptune are going to square today. A lot is happening, but before we begin, do hit the subscribe button. All right, so the first thing that I want to talk about is the Venus Neptune square. This happens at noon exactly. Now, Venus is here at 22:42 and Neptune's here at 22:58. They're making a 90-degree angle, and this will come exact at about noon Pacific time. Now, what is this energy about? Neptune is spirituality. Neptune is the higher realm. However, it is also deception, delusion, drugs, lies, addiction. And Venus is our love, it's our relationships, it's our partnerships, it's our legal issues, self-worth, values, skills. Now, a 90-degree angle is challenging. It demands change, it demands action. There might be some obstacle that we may need to overcome. But this energy, you may not be able to see Venus related things clearly when this transit is going on. You may not be able to see your relationship, your projects, your finances, self-worth, value, skills completely clearly, because Neptune can cause delusions. So as this energy is building, as this energy will stay with us for at least half the day, I would recommend not taking any decision or realizing the fact that we may not be able to see Venus related things clearly, and hence not act on anything. So that's the first thing. Now, at this point, what also is happening is that the moon is opposing Venus 180 degree, and it is also squaring Neptune. Okay, so this is a lot of energy. We can feel deluded about our emotions, we can feel depressed, we can feel overly sensitive, and we may just feel like all Venus related things, love, partnerships, legal issues, finances, self-worth, values, are not working for us. We may not feel emotionally very happy about it, and this, I'll be honest, is not the easiest energy. So I would recommend that you let it just pass without taking decisions, without acting on it, and this will start to ease off at about 1 p.m. post noon. The final peak point will happen, and then the energy will start to come down. And let me also mention that since yesterday was an eclipse, that was very, very, very intense as well. You might have received some piece of information, you might have received some insights, things may have happened, and that's been followed with this energy. So I would really recommend to not react, to not act, at least till the energy settles down. Okay, which will be post 1 o'clock. And soon after that, the moon's going to move on. It's going to move on and oppose Mercury. Okay, that happens at about 10 a.m. So moon is here, Mercury is here, 24 degrees, and they're making a 180-degree angle. And again, this is our mind, it's our communication, it's our logical thinking processes, it's our immediate environment, and the moon is our emotional body. Again, they are not seeing eye to eye. Again, we need to integrate these two elements. We will need to make an adjustment, we will need to make a change. So, like I said, till noon Pacific time, it's not the easiest energy, and just let it pass. Okay. Now after that, the moon moves on. The moon's going to move on, and at about 1 p.m., right after the Venus Neptune square has come exact, right after that, and the moon has moved off its opposition from Venus and Mercury, right after that, it is going to semi-sextile Pluto. This is a positive healing, this is a positive transformation, this is a positive regeneration of sorts, it's a positive rebirthing of sorts. And I believe the morning was so intense and the eclipse was so intense that it really did change something in us. So this is the point where we'll see that healing, that transformation, that catharsis, that ending of the old, beginning of the new, whatever it is for you. Okay. And I do want to mention that Venus has hit 23 degrees right here. The Venus-Mercury conjunction is building because Mercury is going to retrograde. It's going to move backwards. It's going to retrograde at the end of the week. Now, if you want to know what that means for your particular sign, watch my weekly horoscope for this week. We'll talk about it when this happens, okay? But just know that Venus and Mercury are building up to that conjunction. And the next thing that I want to talk about is that the moon's going to change signs. This happens in the evening at about 8 p.m. Pacific time. The moon has entered the sign of Capricorn. This is a completely different energy than we have been in the past 2.5 days. In the past 2.5 days, yes, in the moon in Sagittarius, we feel optimistic, we feel hopeful, but we had an eclipse. So that energy was intense. We could have felt tired, we could have felt drained, we could have felt irritable also, because full moons bring out a lot of emotions. And since yesterday was a lunar eclipse, a total lunar eclipse, it was very powerful, and lunar eclipses are associated with emotional release. So that emotional release process, that emotional ending process does not always feel comfortable. And so we didn't have the best time with the moon in Sagittarius like we normally do. And now the moon's entered the sign of Capricorn, where it will be for the next 2.5 days. And what is this energy? This energy is about work. It's about building our long-term future. It's about structuring things. Capricorn is the sign that builds. It's the sign that works hard. It's ruled by Saturn. So in the next 2.5 days, we will be extremely focused on work-related things, building for the future. Okay? And the moon does make a positive aspect soon after at 1 degrees at about 9 p.m. It is going to sextile Jupiter. Moon's here, Jupiter is here. They're making a 60-degree angle. This is the point where our emotions start to feel positive again, because the eclipse energy was intense. Yes, good things were happening to us, mostly. However, eclipses don't always feel good. They're very intense. And then we went through the entire Neptune square, the moon opposition, the moon square Neptune till 1 p.m. this morning, and that was not an easy energy either. And finally, in the evening, the moon changes signs, and the moon, although does not like to be in Capricorn too much, the sextile to Jupiter, I would say, starts to make us feel positive again. Okay, yeah. And the next thing that I want to mention is that the Sun North Node conjunction is building up. The Sun has hit 7 degrees. It's going to meet with the North Node. We will talk about what this means. And I have already mentioned that Venus and Mercury conjunction is building. And the most important thing is that we are in between eclipses. And this 2-week period, starting from yesterday into June 10th, June 11th, is the karmic spot, you can say. Destined events take place during this in-between eclipse period. So I just thought I'd tell you guys that, and that's all for today. Now I will give you a brief background on what's been happening in this astrology for the past year or so. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the Saturn-Uranus square. This is what I call the theme of the year. These planets are going to be making a 90-degree angle almost all year and into the next year as well. And what is this energy about? This energy is about getting rid of the old. It's about getting rid of any old structures, thought patterns, rules, anything like that, and embracing the new. It's also about finding out who you are, your authentic self, and embracing that. And it's not going to feel easy, this process of getting rid of the old and embracing the new, because these planets are squaring, making a 90-degree angle. The next thing is the Pluto-Saturn conjunction. They meet up, these two planets, once in 33 to 38 years, and they met up in Jan of 2020, and they met up in the sign of Capricorn. And what this means is that they changed our material reality completely. And we will be in this cycle till 2053. And the next thing I do want to mention is the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. These planets met up at 0 degrees of Aquarius in December of 2020. And these planets also meet extremely rarely, once in 20 years. So we started a 20-year cycle, and in the next 2 years, we will lay the foundation for the next 20 years. The next thing that I want to talk about is the fact that Chiron and the North Node are in a sextile. As we move towards our goals, we will heal our identity. This energy is going to be with us for a little longer, but that's what it is. And our goals, the North Node, are unexpected because they're making a semi-sextile with Uranus, and the healing we're receiving is also unexpected because Uranus is in a semi-sextile with Chiron. And the last thing I want to mention is that the North Node is in Gemini and the South Node is in Sagittarius. They were in the same placement between 2001 and 2003. So whatever events, people, situations, things came into your life back then, you might be revisiting those, rebuilding those, or closing those out completely, because the nodes are karmic and they change. They come into the same sign, like the North Node comes into the same sign every 18 and a half years. So they were in this placement 18 and a half years ago. And when they come back into the same placement, the same themes come back into our lives for closure or for building them. So that's what's happening. So that's all I leave you with. To sum it up, we are in an intense energy, and I would recommend to not react till at least 1 p.m. today. There was an eclipse yesterday. There's going to be an eclipse again in 2 weeks' time, and we are in that between eclipses period, which can feel very fated, which can feel very difficult also. And Neptune today is making some difficult aspects, so we may feel depressed, we may feel deluded, we may feel like just not good. So just be mindful of that, and if you want to take decisions, push them to after 1 p.m. Pacific time. And the day will end with more positivity than it begins with. So do hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.